Okay, so let's get into the end of the 20s and Great Depression. All right, so here are the attitudes toward other people in the United States. Okay, remember, we want to remain isolated, okay, after World War One. That's why we did not sign the Treaty of Versailles. That's right. Okay, I just want to make sure y'all answered that. Okay, I had a little time to think about it. But anyway, nativism is going to be super prevalent in America. They thought, okay, most Americans thought that if immigrants came in, that they're going to bring these crazy ideas from World War One. Okay, especially if you're from one of the opposing countries in World War One. Of course, we still don't like the Chinese. Hello, Chinese Exclusion Act. You still don't like the Japanese. Hello, the Gentleman's Agreement. Okay, uh, so you're going to start to see some limitations on immigration. So do you see that fourth bullet, those quota laws? Okay, so the quota laws are really going to limit immigrants from places that we didn't like. Okay, so not everybody, but just some people. Okay, also the KKK is going to rise. Interestingly enough, okay, this discriminatory group is going to be strongest in the Midwest. This will be the largest the KKK will ever be. Discrimination in America. Okay. Nativists really like democracy, okay, because they like capitalism. They think that anything else is a threat to capitalism, okay, so they don't want the communism that the Soviets now have. Remember, Russia is now the Soviet Union, and we'll talk more about that soon. But also, like, anarchy, okay, anybody is a radical, okay, so nativist beliefs for sure. And nativism exists today, okay, hello, trying to keep out immigrants in any way, form, or fashion. Some foreign policy stuff, like I said, we support isolationism. We set up some agreements. That Kellogg-Briand Pact has nothing to do with cereal, okay? But it is for peace. We have some war powers pacts, some treaties signed. The whole thing is to limit weapons, to truly agree to no war, which of course we know it is not going to be successful. Okay, keep in mind this is where the world is sitting after World War One. Germany is forced to pay everything. They're made to take on all the blame. Okay, Britain and France owe us money for all the weapons that they got from us during the war. Germany is absolutely bankrupt. They're in so much inflation. They've printed so much money that a loaf of bread cost about $1 billion. They just have paper money flying on the streets, and you have these people just sweeping it up because that's how invaluable their money is. It's insane. Okay, so we come up with this plan. It's called the Dawes Plan. Okay, so we're going to loan money to Germany because we cannot let Germany fail. We need Germany, okay, the US needs Germany to be a market to buy our goods, okay? Hello, like all those factors of imperialism going back. It's not that we want to take over Germany, but we need them, okay, industrially to buy the stuff that we have. So we cannot have them in the hole. So we're going to loan them money, and then Germany is going to be able to pay back some of their stuff, make the Allies feel a little bit better. Now, granted, it's not the the 30 billion they owe the Allies. Okay, they owe Britain and France, but a little bit, and then the Allies could pay us a little bit back. We do make a little bit of money off of this, but this is not going to be a super successful plan. Okay, the 20s actually is building a fake prosperity. Okay, everything is going into the stock market. Um, oh gosh, and everything becomes based on credit. Now, granted, credit cards didn't exist at this time. It was called installment plans, and you would walk up to a store or whatever, and you're like, oh, put that on my tab. Okay, so they have this tab. It says Leslie Pleasance, and it says how much stuff I've bought, and then eventually I'll have to pay that back. Well, people even started buying stock with that. So, like, you're buying stock with not real money, and when you spend too much not real money, that bubble just gets bigger. It's like you're blowing that bubble gum, and the bubble's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually, ooh, you're gonna have bubble gum all over your face. Okay, and so October of 1929, circle that date. Okay, the stock market is going to crash. People just kept spending fake money. They kept getting these loans. They kept not being able to pay them back. They kept making the stock prices look like they were higher than they actually were. Okay, and so when the stock market crashes and people pull all their money out at one time, everything just goes kabloom. Okay, people lose their fortunes. Well, all of a sudden, people start running on the banks. Okay, and so the banks, keep in mind, banks are a business. All right, the goal of a business is to make money. And so when people run on the banks and they're going to the banks, they're like, give me all my money. Well, the bank doesn't just have a drawer, okay, that says Leslie Pleasance and all my money is in there. They've actually taken my money and they've used my money to make loans to other people so they can get interest from that, so they can make money off of that. So when I go, okay, my money might be there and they might have enough for me. But if enough people go to the bank, there's not enough money in the bank to support all the people that have accounts at the bank. Okay? So banks are going to shut down. People freak out. They lose trust in the system. Look at that. World trade drops 62%. Ooh. Unemployment soars. I mean, people are living on the streets and bread lines, these shanty towns. Look at that bottom right picture, okay? Just houses kind of thrown together. President Hoover was president at the time, Herbert Hoover, and he stuck to Republican policies that supported big business. And so they called these little shanty towns, these little houses made out of whatever, they called them Hoovervilles, making fun of him and disdain for him for not really helping anybody. Granted, he does build the Hoover Dam and gives people jobs that way, but it's just not enough. Too little, too late. Okay. It is a worldwide phenomenon. All right. Of course, Germany is suffering, suffering, suffering. When they can't repay everybody else, everything goes into the tank. And you just start to see a lot of problems. Okay, we just have too many products. We're producing too much in the 20s. It leads to a surplus, and people can't buy it. Okay, because there's not enough people to buy the stuff. The biggest problem is that Europe, I guess Europe just started being able to rebuild their own factories, and America just didn't really take that into account after the war. But beyond that, you start to see high tariffs put into place. If you remember, high tariffs' goal is to protect domestic business. And so Herbert Hoover has a great idea. He's like, I'm going to set up the highest tariff ever. It's called the Hawley Smoot tariff. Okay, Hawley for high tariff. Okay, it's about a 55% tariff. Okay, it shuts down international trade. I mean, look at that political cartoon there. Nobody's trading with anybody. And if nobody's trading with anybody, then nothing is valuable. Everything is in surplus. Everything loses its value. Inflation out the wazoo. Ooh, and a Great Depression is going to occur. Okay? And so capitalism is going to be challenged. Okay? That bust season that must come with a capitalist economy is happening, and people are really going to question that. And so you'll see some people start to look, ooh, they're going to start to look at socialism. They're going to start to look at communism, because it's not great having to depend on a food line or seeing your children starve. Not good. All right, so Herbert Hoover will not be reelected in the United States, but Franklin Roosevelt will. Anybody know anything interesting about him? He actually is paralyzed from the waist down, and so he's in a wheelchair. He had polio when he was younger, and interestingly enough, the press, the media, is going to protect this from the American public, and so most people did not know that he actually couldn't walk. They would prop him up against podiums. They would make his wheelchair kind of look like a real chair, so you couldn't really see it. I mean, look at this picture; you can't even tell. Okay, granted, he's sitting down, but just out of respect for the president. I don't know, does our media have respect for the president today? Whoever it is, whether he's Republican or Democrat. It's interesting to think about. Anyway, what Franklin Roosevelt does, I would circle that New Deal program. The New Deal program, Roosevelt, FDR, as he is often called, is a Democrat, and he believes in big government. Okay? And so what he's going to do is he's going to spend government spending. It's called deficit spending, going into debt to help the economy. All right? And so he's going to have all these government projects and pay all these people with government money to get people back on their feet. It starts this thought that the government should take care of the people. The Social Security system is put into place. That's why you have a Social Security number, okay? So the Social Security system is put into place to help what group of people? It's put into place to help the elderly. So if you're over 65, I'm sorry, if you're over 65, the government is going to give you a stipend. Now, granted, your whole career of working, you're putting into the system. There's a little thing on your check, okay? If you get a check from your work, it says FICA, okay? FICA. And so FICA is money going into your Social Security account. And then once you're 65, you're going to be able to supposedly reap the benefits of all the work that you put in, supposedly. Okay, minimum wage is put in, so you can't just pay people 25 cents an hour. Hooray for minimum wage. So there are going to be other relief programs, giving money directly, giving jobs paid for by the government. Those government subsidies, circle that word. That's when the government gives money to the farmers. You have to protect the farmers. Otherwise, everything goes kaboom, okay? Because the deal is the farmers were in so much surplus, they're like burning their crops. They're dumping out their milk to get rid of the surplus. So the price goes up, okay? They want to get rid of that inflation. Oh my gosh, they're like destroying food, okay? Whew, it's crazy. So that's the Great Depression. Is kind of where the world is sitting at this point. Good deal. All right.